Here is our first Citizens Bank Forever First moment. The Virginia defense, once again. It's been the best defense for the last 5 years, and this season they're allowing 52.9 per game, which is again number one.
In the 2017-2018 basketball season, the University of Virginia led the NCAA in fewest points allowed. We're going to take a look at how their defense was so effective this year. First, we'll look at transition defense. One of the first things you'll observe is that after a change of possession, Virginia players are back, turned, and matched up within 3 to 4 seconds.
See, it's a turnover, but they get nothing out of it. They have to set, there's such great transition defense by Virginia to make them have to get into a set.
To accomplish this goal, Virginia's guards sink back on every shot attempt. Notice how Jerome and Hall sink back as soon as the shot goes up. Notice the clock when Clemson secures the basketball in this ACC tournament semifinal game. Within 4 seconds, all Virginia players are back, turned, and matched up. Notice how Guy and Hall start sinking back when Jerome takes this shot in the ACC championship game. Notice how the 3 guards start sinking back on this shot attempt.
Ball hangs on the back of the rim, and it's pulled down on a tap out by Sims.
Notice the guards sink back on this drive. Look at the clock when Pinson secures the rebound. Within 3 seconds, all 5 Virginia players are back, turned, and matched up.
May wants it. That's a tall man in front of him.
Here again, notice how Hall and Guy sink back on the drive. Again, look at the clock as soon as Clemson secures the basketball. Within 3 seconds, all 5 Virginia players are back, turned, and matched up.
Another steal. Too much dribbling. Not enough passing. Jerome for Guy.
Look at Guy and Wilkins in transition here. Do you notice what they're doing? They're turning their hips at half court. Virginia players in transition sprint to half court and begin turning their hips at half court to backpedal and match up. They're trying to keep the ball and their man in front of them. Once their hips are in front of their man, they keep their hips there, even if it means backpedaling all the way back underneath the basket. Watch again as Jerome backpedals to keep his hips in front of Mitchell all the way to the basket, not creating any contact, not drawing the foul. Here you'll see Hunter working to keep his hips in front of the ball.
Into the hands of Marquise Reed. A blow by, and Hunter rejects him.
Notice how his hips are between the man and the basket when he blocks the shot. Notice what Wilkins does here when May has an advantage on him in transition. First of all, you'll notice he does not hang his head and give up. He still sprints down and makes every effort to get his hips back in front of May in transition. Here again, you'll see Wilkins sprinting back to get his hips in front of May and then having active hands on defense. When Virginia matches up, they match up with like-sized players. They don't necessarily have to match up with the exact same player every time down. Here you'll notice that Hall is matching up with number 25. Now take a look at the clock. These next 3 clips are all within 3 minutes of each other. There haven't been any substitutions and all the same players are on the court. Now you'll notice this time down, Hall matches up with number 10. This time down, Hall matches up with number 2. This is an important reason why Virginia is able to match up so quickly. They talk, communicate, and cooperate with each other in getting their matchups. Here you'll see Wilkins and Guy pointing to communicate how they're going to match up in transition.
Sophomore gives it up to Barry. Look at that, right into the passing lane. That is a vintage Virginia play.
Here's a great example of how Virginia cooperates with each other in transition. There's some confusion here and Wilkins' man slips behind him, but because Hall's hips are turned, he can see that and just goes over to help. Here are 3 more clips of Virginia's transition defense. See if you can pick up on all the things that they're doing. The guard sinking back on the shot, turning the hips at half court, communicating and matching up within 3 seconds.
Pinson brings it down. And he's just not going to get any transition hoops against Virginia.
A huge lift.
To a wide open Jerome. Not there, and it's run down by Playtech. Just back into the game for me. Get the Nick back into the game for me. Get the Nick back into the game for North Carolina. with Pinson. And the high pick, boy, Brooks was...
So here's a summary of some observations on Virginia's transition defense. The guards sink back on all shots. All players turn their hips at half court and backpedal to match up and find their man. They keep their hips in front of their man, and they match up to a like-sized man, and they talk, communicate, and cooperate with each other in finding their matchups. By using these techniques, the Virginia players are able to get back, turn their hips, and match up within 3 to 4 seconds, making it very hard to get transition buckets against them. Now let's make some observations about Virginia's half-court defense. The first thing you'll notice is that whenever a Virginia defender is on the ball, he always stays arm's length away from the ball and keeps one arm active toward the ball handler. Now it's important to point out what they're not doing. They're not keeping both hands back where they're ineffective and can't agitate the ball handler. They're also not reaching and lunging for the ball to where they get out of position. As they keep one hand toward the ball handler, they maintain their hips in front of the ball, maintain arm's length distance, and stay in balance so they can continue to stay in front of the ball even if he tries to drive. This is not an accident. You see it over and over and over again. Clearly, Virginia is training and teaching how to do this.
In all the best ways.
Reed with the shot clock winding down, gets it on the front iron, and that is about it. A suffocating UVA moment, and the fans responding here.
Notice again how the Virginia players keep their hips in front of the ball at an arm's length distance, and how they keep one active hand going toward the ball, always ready to contest a shot. And then players box out on the shot, ready to rebound.
Long rebound.
Here again you see Virginia's commitment to keeping their hips in front of the ball, even if it means backpedaling all the way to the basket.
Reed, all the way to the rack. Hall strips him.
What a defensive play.
Here are some more examples of good things that happen for the Virginia defense by keeping their hips in front of the ball at an arm's length and playing with active hands.
And defensively, cutting off all driving lines, not allowing any passes or direct drives, and you see yet another live ball turnover, which it's converted directly into easy points.
Season average, but they need him a little bit more than that.
Pinson has his pocket picked by Wilkins. End to end.
Virginia players trap all ball screens. Look at DeAndre Hunter as his man comes to set a ball screen. He shows and sets the trap and then recovers back to his man. He shows so that the guard can't come around that ball screen and shoot a three-point shot or drive down the paint.
Clemson still not, they haven't unleashed a barrage of threes.
A steal and a dunk.
Here's another example of how Virginia traps the ball screen.
Donnell setting the pick, and another pilfer. And Diakite.
Here's another trap off of a handoff ball screen. Then notice how Virginia secures her perimeter and boxes out to get the rebound. Now this is interesting. It would appear that Thomas has the classic box out positioning. However, Salt uses a technique that many Virginia players use. He's going to box out Thomas underneath the basket and basically put him in a position where he cannot get the rebound.
Yeah, and it's you look at that team, 5 white jerseys, making sure they have control of the basketball before they go down the other end of the floor.
Whenever Virginia players are in help defense, they're always alert and aware of where the ball is. Take a look here at Jerome and Hall as they go from ball side defenders to weak side defenders. Look at their positioning in weak side help, right along the lane line. From this position, they can help on drive penetration, but they can also get out to their man to contest a three-point shot. Now notice how all 5 Virginia players box out when the shot goes up to secure the rebound. Here's another good example of Virginia's weak side players covering the elbow and block on the weak side. Now freeze when the shot goes up. This is very important and subtle. Most inexperienced players, when a shot goes up, look immediately to the backboard to try to figure out where the ball is going to go. But look at the Virginia players. Their first look is to their man to figure out how they're going to box him out. Look at Jerome, Diakite, and Wilkins. They all lock in on their man, turn, box him out, and then track the ball for the rebound. Let's use this clip to recap some of our observations so far. Here comes a ball screen. Diakite will come up to trap the screen and then recover to his man. Here comes another ball screen. Diakite again comes up to trap it and then recover to his man. While he's recovering, you'll see that Wilkins and Guy drop back to help. Here's an example of the arm's length defense we learned about earlier, with an active hand ready to contest. When the shot goes up, Jerome and Diakite lock in on their man and box them out as needed before they turn to track the ball for the rebound. Here's an example of how Virginia plays the one pass away help defense. Here, Hunter's man is one pass away from the ball, so Hunter is in the gap. In the gap, he's on the elbow where he can stop drive penetration, but also close out on his man if he should get the ball. Virginia boxes out on this shot attempt, but it's a long rebound, so they don't get it. Here again, you'll see the weak side help defenders are covering the elbow and block on the weak side. That puts Hunter in perfect position to take a charge.
Right into the pack line, and it's offensive foul.
If you can, but here's this. I mean, this is what you rarely drive against one guy for Virginia. It's either a guy and a half or there's full help with two.
Now we'll take a look at how Virginia defends the post. They don't allow anyone to just set up in the post. Take a look at how Thomas here wants to get in the post, but Salt refuses to let him get a good position. He pushes him out of the post, and when Thomas finally gets the ball, look at how far away he is from the basket.
A little one-on-one maneuver here, and no double coming. So off the heel, Salt the rebound.
Pay attention to Wilkins right here, and notice how he just keeps Skara out of the action. He continues to front Skara in that low post, denying him the ball the whole way, basically taking him out of the play.
He's in a screen roll, see if he can move.
Sims, that's a tough shot.
Notice how Wilkins does the same thing to May, either fronting him in the post or working to keep him out of the post.
Hunter checking Barry. That's a tough take for Joel. There's that size factor we're talking about, and Pinson with a launch that won't go. That is an outstanding Virginia defensive sequence.
Here's an example of Diakite fronting the post with Wilkins coming over to help on the backside. Here's an example of Wilkins going over to help Salt with a double team in the post. But what's very important to notice is what Guy does. He drops down to protect the backside. When the ball goes out of the post, he recovers to his man.
There's that double team.
Yeah. Good swing. Mitchell off the front rim.
Now let's summarize some of our observations on Virginia's half-court defense. When they're on the ball, the players always play at arm's length with an active hand. They keep their hips in front of their man. Whenever there's a ball screen, they trap and recover on that ball screen. When they're in weak side positioning, they put themselves in an area to cover the block and elbow on the weak side along the lane line. In the post, they double down on the post sometimes, but they also front the post and fight the post player to keep him out of the post in the first place. Whenever a shot goes up, they box out on all shots. Here are a couple of clips of Virginia's half-court defense. See if you can identify some of our observations in these clips.
Jerome.
Good matchup. Devin Hall on Joel Berry, too. Good concentration and trying to keep him quiet.
Shot clock down to 5. Pinson with the dump down to May. In traffic. This will be a shot clock violation.
We caught a break. We worked 2 games and go and put our feet up, but they are here from dawn till dusk and later.
Corey had a chance to work with West Durham last night on the Duke-Carolina game, and that had to be a thrill for them.
Now here are a few clips showing Virginia's transition defense to half-court defense, all in continuity. See if you can identify some of the observations we've made in these clips.
Hook on that. I mean, just go right over the top of him to the rim.
He's one of the protectors or servants, as you see Mitchell with a scoop to the hoop.
His senior year.
Jason, you were in the Virginia huddle. What did you find out?
Well, Coach Tony Bennett is saying he wants his team to pick up the pace on offense. Not sure if it's nerves, but they're getting into their sets slow. He wants them to look to attack more. And obviously, defensively, he's very pleased of how the Cavaliers have started this ball game.
Henson pulls up. Can't get it to go. Jerome, a runner.
He's being much more aggressive and looking for his shot in this game.
He's got 7. And you see again the size differential when Barry tries to make a move on Ty Jerome. They just cover you up. And Joel has not had a very effective first half. I don't think there's any question about that. Hanley not there. And May tries to tap one out. Here's Hunter working on May. Pull up. Pinson the rebound. Boy, look at the job Hunter is doing on May.
And I think that's led to his lack of scoring. They've put a smaller cover. Jack Salt has not been on the floor much in this second half.
Yeah, he is very athletic, DeAndre Hunter.
Talk about his ability to defend at multiple positions.
Perry. That one was deflected.
Wilkins
again.